Page 40, Shenendoah. This piece isn't really introducing anything new. You're just using what you know already. It has words. The first verse of the words is between the stabs. You see them there. Then there are two more verses at the bottom of the page, and this is the way they normally do it. Now, some publishers, when they do this, they'll put a repeat sign at the end of the piece indicating you repeat it. But it's understood that if you're going to sing more than one verse, you automatically have to repeat it for each verse. So you just do that if you're going to sing it. When we play it together for this video, I'm just going to go through it one time. This is in the key of F major, okay? You got one flat, all the B's, all the B flat, or all the B's are going to be B flats, okay? The right hand at the beginning, you're starting out with the thumb on middle C, third finger on the F. And then in the next full measure, you bring the thumb under to play the G. Now there's two ways of doing this in this case. According to what's written, you're between phrases. And if that's the case, you can simply lift the hand up and move it, because the time it takes you to do that gives you the silence you want between the phrases. 4-1. Okay, is fine, works. Or you can leave your hand there and stick your thumb under it. Now, it kind of depends. Are you going to follow their phrasing, or are you adjusting the phrasing? Because when they have words with it, you can follow the words as far as the phrases go and phrase it according to the music, according to the sentences, right? And phrase it according to the sentences. So here it's, "O Shenendoah, I long to hear you," could be considered all one sentence. So it could be considered all one phrase. So there. If I do that, then I have to stick the thumb under because I want to connect them. So you'll have to decide whether you want that first line to be one phrase except for the last three notes, or as it's written in separate phrases. I would split the last three notes off into a separate phrase. Now, in the second line, third measure, you're playing the C, the dotted half note C with the second finger. It's a holdover from the measure before. Now that quarter note C then is fourth finger. And again, because you're between phrases, this is okay. The silence is good. Now again, I would combine the phrases between the last measure of the second line and the first couple measures of the third line. I would make that all one phrase, not separate phrases, but you can try it each way and see what you think. To me, it's one phrase. But if you want to separate them, you go right ahead. Now, I would recommend a slightly different fingering for the third line, first two measures, because you're here with the D from the measure before. They're saying third finger on the A, and then cross over to get the D. That's doable, but I think it's a little easier if we do it this way. Little finger on the D, just like it was. Go ahead with the third finger. Now, with the C, play it with the fifth finger. Then play the A with the fourth finger, G with the third finger, F with second finger, and now you can play the D with the thumb. We don't have to cross over. Now, of course, you got to play the thumb again on the next measure for the middle C, but you got a one beat rest. Shouldn't be a problem. And that's what I would recommend. And finally, in the last line, the last two phrases they've got marked there, I would combine those into one phrase. And connect all of that together. I would not split those up into two phrases. You try it both ways and see what you think. The left hand is pretty straightforward. You're just staying here for the most part. At the last measure of the second line, you got to go down here. So the question is, how do you get from here to here? And the answer is, well, you're in the next to the last measure of the second line, you're playing a half note C. Simply stretch your hand out a little bit and get the D. It should not be a problem. In the third line, as much as I don't like putting a thumb on black notes, sometimes you pretty much have to. And in this case, we do. Now in the last two measures of the third line there, watch that. You have a B flat, F, fourth finger on the E, B flat, and now come up a little bit, scrunch up a little bit, and fourth finger on the F. And this is your position pretty much for the rest of the piece, okay, except the last measure, you can see that. And that's really all there is here. 4/4 time with a pickup beat, so let's try it. I'll give us 3 counts, we'll play it together slowly. So right hand goes here, left hand here, there we go. 1, ready, go.